How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to 2A News Now, and I really appreciate you taking your time tuning into my video. Real quick before I start the video, I want to make you guys a deal. If I continue to put out at least 5 videos a week, which that's my usual goal, and sometimes even more, all I ask of you guys is to continue to like, share, and subscribe and hit those post notifications. It really does help the channel grow, and we're getting closer and closer to 60,000 subscribers. I'm not going to try to sell you any coffee or anything else like that. I'm not going to try to sell you any merchandise, although a lot of people lately have been asking about something like that. And I'm not going to ask you to sign up for a Patreon. I would rather earn everything the old-fashioned way, and that's by getting more subscribers and likes and shares on my videos. Alright, let's get on with today's video. Let me start out with saying I'm very much pro law enforcement, but when it comes to agencies like the ATF and others, most of us don't like them very much. But I don't wish any harm to anyone who works in those agencies. But when you hear a story like this, maybe they should try a new profession. An ATF agent was robbed at gunpoint in Lawless, Chicago. No surprise, of course. Chicago's long descent into a lawless hellhole continues. The latest evidence is a robbery crew that relieved a 33-year-old ATF agent of his valuables. And that's the nice way of they robbed him. And this happened at 2:22 a.m. sometime late last week. It happened downtown on the formerly Magnificent Mile. You know, the part of town that used to be one of the nicest parts of a cosmopolitan modern city. Today, it's a crime-ridden cesspool. Apparently, the situationally unaware agent found himself among plenty of company as robbery crews hit a number of victims that night, as they do almost every day and night these days. This, of course, encouraged by the Chicago Police Department's no pursuit policy. The Chicago Police Department's stance is consistent with new Mayor Brandon Johnson's philosophy of expressing compassion and understanding for criminals. On Wednesday, he defended his feckless response to the city's exploding crime rate by announcing that his administration is different. Yeah, it really is different, isn't it? Chicago voters had a choice earlier this year between a candidate for mayor who promised to do something about the city's hellish crime problem and one who promised to continue to rethink criminal justice. And now the city is getting what they asked for. At least 2 vehicles loaded with armed men were actively robbing people downtown and on the north and west sides. Late Wednesday into the next morning, on the Magnificent Mile, a 33-year-old man who later identified himself as an ATF agent was robbed at gunpoint in the 900 block of North Michigan around 2:22 a.m. near his hotel. He told police that 2 men got out of a dark SUV with handguns and took his valuables. They tossed his badge on the ground before leaving westbound on Delaware. There was no word whether they took his gun. But what are the odds that they did? Of course, most likely, they're always carrying their gun whether they're on duty or off duty. But so far, they're not admitting to it. But of course, that just puts another gun on the streets in Chicago. When you hear a story like this, you want to root for law enforcement. But then you remember how the ATF is abusing gun dealers, revoking licenses, and convincing hundreds of more to relinquish their licenses, following so-called compliance inspections, where even the most trivial paperwork error can bring out the F-Troop fully kitted out in their SWAT gear. Is there any mystery to as why Chicago is where they are now? And it's been like this for a long time. Even when Obama was president for 8 years, and Chicago was his hometown. There was lawlessness in the streets then, but it's even worse now. They have some of the strictest gun control laws in our country, but we all know what that does is make it so law-abiding citizens have a hard time owning firearms, and that just lets the criminals run rampant in that city. As always, I would really like to hear your thoughts about the story in the comment section down below. And I always will thank everybody for their support with the channel and help it grow by liking, sharing, and subscribing and hitting those post notifications. I really do appreciate it. And I invite everybody back to see my next video.